Okay, we get it.
You would find a single cell named Luca.
How do you know the name?
Oh, scientists made it up. It stands for Last Universal Common Ancestor. I also know that they probably existed over 3.5 billion years ago in hydrothermal vents.
Wait, I'm really confused. How do you know that they were a cell? That it was only one cell? How do you know that it was over 3.5 billion years ago? And how do you know where they lived?
How do I know they were a cell? Let me ask you. Is there anything simpler than a cell that can be considered living?
I mean, maybe mitochondria?
They can't live on their own though. They rely on the rest of the cell for proteins they need.
Then I guess there isn't any living thing simpler than a cell.
Exactly. So cells are the basic unit of life. Therefore, it is reasonable to say that life started off as a cell.
Why only one cell? Are you sure that all living things are related to this one ancestor?
Good question, because life probably appeared more than once. But what descendants did it make it to today?
Answer the question.
Well, all organisms use the same genetic code.
What's the genetic code?
It's a bit like a language that organisms use to convert genes to protein. It would be highly unlikely that two organisms develop the same exact genetic code by chance.
Any other evidence?
Some parts of cells, such as ribosomes, are pretty much identical non-organisms.
Okay, fine.
How do you know Luca existed over... how many years ago was it?
3.5 billion years ago? You can use fossils, carbon dating, and genomic information. You can read into it if you're interested.
How do you know where Luca lived?
Because we deduced that Luca had genes for proteins needed for anaerobic metabolism and fixing carbon dioxide and nitrogen. These are needed in hydrothermal vents.
Who created Luca then? Because there wasn't any other living thing to create it.
By chance.
So, all the molecules needed to create the organism happened to bump into each other in the right place at the right time?
That must be impossible. They need to go through the right reactions and form all the right compounds and form a membrane.
And the cell must be able to replicate.
It's improbable, but it is possible.
How?
Let me explain. Once upon a time, when the Earth was young, there wasn't a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere, but there was a lot of carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. The ozone layer didn't exist, so there also was a lot of UV light. Of course, there was also light.
Yeah, perfect for living things.
Exactly. Two scientists, Miller and Yuri, tried to replicate these conditions. After a week, they found more than 20 types of amino acids. These are the building blocks of proteins.
What? They made all of that out of air and lightning.
Okay, so Luca probably had amino acids to make proteins. Where did they get their membrane from? Membranes are not made of proteins, are they?
No, they are made of phospholipids, which naturally form spherical structures when placed in water.
Cool.
Let me ask you a question. How do you think the first genes replicated? Because we don't have enzymes at the moment.
Well, I don't know. Did genes replicated by themselves?
Yes, by themselves. Only RNA can do that though, not DNA. This is why it is suggested that RNA was the first genetic material. Because it can store genes, and it can self-replicate, and it can catalyze reactions, including protein synthesis.
Were Luca's genes stored in RNA then?
Probably not. By the time Luca was created, the molecules could probably already make proteins and replicate DNA. So Luca probably had DNA.
Okay, that can explain where humans come from. But H2O and I aren't regular living things. Where do we come from, Campbell?